I suppose I should start with explaining why I care about this stuff, why I care about urbanism, what got me interested. And the answer is quite simple. It's my experience trying to save up money. Now, I don't earn a massive amount. I'm currently doing a PhD, and after we take into account various interesting tax things with the PhD system, I take home a pay which is probably worth somewhere between 17 and 18,000 a year. It's not bad, but it's not massive amounts of money, and out of that I've been trying to put money away every year, and by and large I have succeeded. Now, let's talk a bit about this. The money that I put away from that pay is not some wonderful generation wealth. I have failed to have that. It's also not because I'm earning a load of sneaky income on the side. In my first year I did a tiny bit of teaching which made less than 500 quid and then stopped doing that. So it's all in that pay. How am I putting money away? As far as I'm concerned, there's two reasons that I can actually put money away on that salary. The first is living up north. The rent is cheaper than down south. I can put a lot of money away because I don't have to pay an enormous rent that I would in some parts of the country. That makes it livable. But the second reason, and the one that I think is incredibly important, is that I don't have a car. This is vital compared to a lot of people I know. You see, I spend probably between £250 and £500 per year total on transport, usually towards the low end of that, and it's split mostly between a couple of big train journeys, bus trips and bike maintenance. For any young person I know, car insurance alone will dwarf that figure. I'll link to a site which gives estimates of average car insurance for 2020. They use a source which basically did a search for car insurance rates on a comparison site. There's a lot of faff to these figures which you can read into if you want. I'll link them. They quote an average of a bit under £450 a year, and they split this into ages. For those in their early 20s, it's much higher. £851 they found for 20-year-olds and £719 for 25-year-olds according to their methods. And if you take somewhere in the middle of that, say about £750, I suppose that's even on the low end there, but the exact number is not relevant. What matters is this dwarfs my total spend, and this is just insurance. You can't magic your way out of that. Add on to that road tax plus MOT, even if your car is fine, which MOT you need every year after the third year, and if you're buying a used car, you're going to need that all the time. Road tax you pay yearly. That's another couple of £100 on top, meaning you're nearing £1,000 and we haven't even bought or drove the car yet. Let's say, with some massive luck from the non-existent personal bank of mum and dad, I could get a car for free. Even then, having to spend over £900 a year just to make it legal to drive the car. Remember, you can't save your way out of those costs unless you're okay with breaking the law. You need the insurance, you need to demonstrate that your car is safe to drive, and yeah, you should probably pay your tax. That's just to get it legal. I haven't even got on to fuel yet. I'll make the numbers simple. Imagine your car runs at an incredibly good 50 miles a gallon. I mean, that's almost impossibly good for a freebie that we're considering here, but I'm trying to be kind to the car. Now we need fuel costs. Using the power of Google search, and even 2019, which I'll use those prices because I would have been saving up over the past before the massive price spike that's been happening quite recently. Even using 2019 prices, about 120 pence per litre and about £5.45 per gallon. Again, I'll link to the source in the description. Price per mile, obviously cost per gallon divided by miles per gallon. Even our hypothetically very efficient car pays about 11 pence in fuel per mile at 2019 prices. And we all know that that's even worse now. So if you manage to have a very short 5-mile commute, which is not bad, twice a day for 255 working days a year, just getting you to and from work costs about £280. Remember, these estimates are lowballs. We've assumed some fairly cheap insurance, really decent fuel prices, only commuting needed for your car, which is very unlikely if you need the car for that, you're going to probably need it something else. And we're getting estimates of well over £1,000 a year. Now add that price difference up over 4 years of PhD with COVID extension. I would save a bit on fuel in the few months of lockdown, but even a modest £750 a year saved is £3,000 in total. And that's a low estimate to how important this is. The fuel is a very low estimate, which is definitely not true now. It also assumes no other costs of maintaining the car. Even with a cheap vehicle, you're just not needing repairs, you're not needing anything like that. There's also no cost for buying the car. I reckon the amount of money I've saved by not needing a car over the course of this PhD is probably not £3,000, it's probably £4,000 or maybe even higher. And this is what really got into the idea of urbanism. I'm having quite a good outlook now. Once I get out of this and hopefully get a higher paying job, I'm in a really good place. And the only reason I've had that ability to put money away is because of where I work and where I live. The fact that I can walk or bike to work and be confident of not getting run over. The fact that I generally don't need more than a fairly low-cost bit of public transport to get where I want is massive. From there, it was just a slow realisation of how ignorant I was about the basic functioning of where I live and have lived. Not just urbanism in general, but just the way these things are built, how they affect us and how we adapt to that. And hopefully I can talk about that more in the future.